Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group. And with me, as always, is Chip Janiszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how are you doing this week?
Doing great. How about you, Eric?
Doing fantastic.
Looking forward to a very relaxing podcast here.
Yes. We are heading into the dog days of summer, and many people are taking their vacations. But as it turns out, more people aren't. And in fact, it was recently reported that 54% of Americans don't take their vacation time. And that number is actually down from what it was a few years ago. Now we're talking about vacation time that it's paid vacation. You don't lose money for taking it, and yet people are not taking the time.
Oh, it's obviously it's just common sense that tells you that if you do take some time off, you're going to feel recharged. You're going to be a whole lot more efficient in what you do, and it's just crazy. Instead of just sitting there at work every day saying, "How come I'm working so hard?" and so on and so forth, and I'm feeling so tired, the answer is in the mirror. Take out a schedule, plan it, and make sure that when you take the time off, you actually turn everything off while you do, and literally take time off.
And that's becoming harder and harder to do. With cell phones, we're always connected to email, calls, text, messaging apps. It's really become much more difficult to disconnect from work. And yet, studies show that those people that don't disconnect, their productivity drops, their mental well being drops. It is very important for you to relax, and not just taking a week or two for a vacation, but even in the course of normal days, you need to take time out and give your brain a rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a half an hour out of the day where you just turn everything off, and you may even want to just stay in your office and meditate or even take a nap. But you got to shut down, because the body's not meant to keep going and going and going. And literally the mind is what keeps going and going and going, even when you're trying to sleep. Obviously, if you can't relax, you're going to have trouble sleeping, and it's going to cause a whole lot of other different problems. On the other hand, if you do set up your relaxation routine, a lot of these problems go away, and that's proven also.
That's true. And when you don't relax, you also don't improve. We talk a lot about personal growth, and your mind is essentially a muscle. It works the same way. Well, any physical trainer will tell you that when you're working out, the muscle growth actually comes when you're not working out, when you're resting between workouts. And it's the healing process of the muscle that builds up muscle strength. Well, your mind works very similarly. It's when you're not working it that it gets to absorb everything you've read, everything you've done. And it's that relaxation time that helps you internalize it. In fact, studies of college students found that they did better on tests and retained more of what they learned when they went to sleep immediately after learning it, because the mind then had a chance to absorb it and integrate it into everything it knows.
Yeah, and as far as before you go to bed, that is a huge, huge time of day, because the bottom line is we're all human and we're going to have to sleep sometime, and that's supposed to be relaxing. And if you can prepare for bed properly by calming down for the last hour or two of the day, turning off the television, shutting down all of your electronic devices, concentrating all the great things that happen during the day, what you're looking forward to tomorrow. If you can get into a routine before you go to bed, so that when you hit that sack, you're falling asleep and relaxing very, very nicely. That's so, so important. And shutting stuff down is really the key to that. And you have to discipline yourself to do that, where every time you hear a little buzz on your cell phone, you don't look to see who's texting you or, who's on Facebook and that kind of thing. You got to get out of those routines. They're fun while they're there, but there's time for everything, and relaxation's got to be on your calendar every day.
Right. And, because we're so connected to our devices, those devices now come with methods to help us disconnect from them. I know the Apple iPhones, I believe the Androids as well, have a do not disturb feature. And you can schedule this so that at a certain time every night, your phone will stop the notifications from coming. And you can do this. You pick a time, a start time and an end time, so that I personally have it scheduled so that at 10 o'clock at night, that's it. I don't get notifications anymore. It doesn't tell me what's going on Facebook. It doesn't tell me who's texting me. And it won't until 8 a.m. the next morning. So not only does it give me time to wind down at night, it gives me time to gear up in the morning before I'm inundated with all those notifications again.
Yeah, and obviously the other thing that you can get to help out is you can download free apps or apps that you pay for meditation purposes and that kind of thing. One of the ones that I've had for several years, and it's called Insight Timer, INSIGHT Timer. And that's got everything just from a bell or whatever, where you just time yourself for however long, to the guided meditations and different sounds and so on and so forth. And I start every morning with that, and I try and do something before I go to bed every night. And but the bottom line is if you can just put that in there where you are doing that for 15, 20 minutes a day, sometimes twice a day, it's a great, great way to unwind. And if you get that into your routine, it's a great way to wake up, and it's a great way to go to bed.
But you do have to be careful when you're using apps before going to sleep. Something that has been found is that the light from your device will actually keep you up, even if you're using one of these relaxation apps. And the way around this is many devices have a nighttime mode, which is it changes the spectrum of the light. So you're seeing it's a much more blue than the white light you usually see. By stopping those frequencies, it doesn't trigger your body to be awake. And that's something else you need to be careful of. What's around you? Turn off the lights a little earlier. Even if you're still watching TV or using your tablet, gradually bring lights down. So say 9 o'clock if you're watching TV, turn the overhead lights off. If you're reading a book, just use a small light, next to you on the couch or the bed, wherever you're reading, focused just on the book. And believe it or not, reading a physical book rather than an ebook on a tablet also has a positive effect on your relaxation. There's something about the tactile effect of the book and the fact that you're not dealing with a backlight.
Yeah, I mean, there is something about just picking up a book and doing that too, that it's very relaxing. So at least I find it that way. So that's one of the techniques for falling asleep if you have insomnia, is to just pick up a book and read it. So it's something, have a book beside your bed so that you're able to do that. And if you want to make it something a little bit more tough to read, like, it could be something like out of the Bible or something that's a little bit more as far as mantras and this and that and so on and so forth, instead of, some type of mystery adventure and so on that leaves you hanging when you go to sleep wondering what happens in the morning. That's a really good habit to get into. So,
and the habit is very important. One of the things that studies have found help people to relax and sleep is having that routine where you do certain things and then that's turn everything off and go to bed. Your body gets used to that routine. So as you start the routine, your body actually anticipates that, okay, now I'm going to be relaxed. Now I'm going to go to sleep. And it will actually manufacture endorphins to help you go to sleep. It also manufactures serotonin to help you go to sleep. So your body chemistry actually reacts to having that routine, same time every night, doing the same thing every night, and then going to sleep.
Yeah, and obviously there's some types of relaxation techniques that you can use. The simplest is just breathing. That's like the simplest form of meditation is just breathing and concentrating on your breath going in your nose or in your mouth or in your diaphragm and just concentrating on that, realizing that you are going to lose it and you're going to start thinking it again. But if you can set yourself back on that, what that does is it actually slows down your heart rate and starts helping you to relax. There's all kinds of benefits to that. And the next step from that would be meditation, which is there's different ways to do that, but it's just taking some time out for 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time to just really, really either think of nothing or there's other types of things like transcendental meditation and walking meditation. And I mean, if you go online and look that up, or if you get an app, there's a bunch of different ways to do that, but that's a wonderful way to have relaxation in your life. And there's things I talk like stuff like Tai Chi and yoga and things like that, which is physical relaxation where you're just doing body motions and that kind of thing, which helps out a lot. Uh, Progressive muscle relaxation, which is basically just tensing and releasing muscle groups gradually while you're aware of exactly which group you're doing that to, is a great way to get that going. That's something I just saw when I was looking things up today that I'm going to try. And then another thing that you can do is hypnosis. And obviously, you can go get hypnotized by a specialist, but I think there's techniques that you can use yourself that you can look up. And so there's a lot of different easy ways to do that. But as you said, the most important thing is to get into a routine, pick something out and do it every day at the same time so that it becomes part of your life, which is relaxing.
And there are so many different types of meditation to help you relax, to help you recharge. And if you're not familiar with them, there are guided meditations where someone is actually telling you step by step what to do, when to breathe, to tense, and you can find hundreds, if not thousands, of these on YouTube. So it's, free to get help in these guided meditations. And one of the big principles of meditation is the fact that your mind is not going to calm until your body is still. So simply keeping your body still and focusing on each part of your body, focusing on your breath, will help you calm down. Now, even before you get to the meditation, there are things you can do over the course of your day to keep your mind out of that jumble. And working backwards, we've been talking about meditations and ways to relax before going to sleep. But this really starts before you leave the office. Because one of the best ways to calm your mind is to treat the end of every day as though you were going on a vacation. May just be an 8-hour vacation, going to sleep. But when you clear your desk, when you set things up so that the work is organized and you don't have to think about it, when your next day, you've got a checklist as to what has to be done,